So, as I promised, those 2 months were very chaotic. I moved places, I changed my job, and I started training. There was a lot of things going on. My script, I rewrote the script like 2 or 3 times in the meantime. When I was posting about being nearly ready, I changed the nature of the video because I was not happy with how it was done. I think this is the issue where when you don't post videos often, then you kind of lose touch, and I believe that's what happened. Then when I rewrote everything, I re-recorded everything because the previous footage was recorded. The footage was corrupted, so I needed to re-record some parts of the footage, as you can see in the video, because almost every chapter you can see that it has a different quality, with the exception of the one that I'm sitting. There's one when I'm sitting and it's a pretty good quality, and there's one when I'm standing when it's pretty good quality, but all the rest that I'm also sitting or standing, they have either lower frame rates or are of lower quality because I was just doing them in a very fast paced. As for the future of the channel, I'm finally located in my own place. I no longer live with other people, and currently, like the moment I'm recording, I took a 2-week holiday off from my work just so I can focus more on work but not my work but this work, actually, YouTube and other projects that I'm working on. A lot of things didn't came out as I was expecting them to come out, and that certainly took a toll, a mental toll, I guess. And the motivation is not the correct word, but I would say the passion for the project. But it did reignite again, at least slightly. It needs to take time. I need to put a bit more videos. For now, the Fallout video is not that. It doesn't have that great views. I was expecting it to have a bit more views because it's a video about Fallout, and usually when you talk about a specific subject that is popular, the algorithm just brings it to the front. But apparently not this time. Apparently that's not the case. I don't know how to. That's the problem when you. It's very difficult for me to take feedback because. Sure, the comments are helpful the comments are helpful, but there are only very few comments. Like, let's say 5 people will say something, or like even 20 people will say something. But if a video have like 400 views, I cannot base a feedback of 5 people for a video that has many times more views than those comments. It's very difficult to take it that way. Even though I guess people who comment are usually those that are actually that they feel passionate somehow about the subject. Doesn't matter if positively or negatively. So that is why it's very difficult to adjust for YouTube, because you never know how you supposed to take feedback. Sometimes you make a much better quality video and it tanks, like it performs horribly, and then you make a video in like very short term and you don't really think much about it, and then it gets like 14,000 views. For example, the video that they make, what was the designing fantasy maps, it was pretty rushed. I did think about the script. I was rewriting it, but it was rushed. It was not a video of great quality, but it's still my best performed video on my channel, which is and then you will look at other videos that I took a lot of time and effort to edit and to make them more consumable. For example, the good and bad dialogue, I'm trying to make the thumbnail and the title to be more catchy, try to catch more of an audience with it. I also focused more on the quality of how I present my arguments. I focused more on how I do that instead of the arguments themselves, which that's the issue when you create your YouTube channel. You either focus on quality or you focus on farming farming views and getting attention, because you want to grow, right? If you created a YouTube channel just to talk stuff to a random audience, then sure, but that's not the goal of my YouTube channel. I mentioned that a couple of times before, and always my biggest dream, like the dream with that YouTube channel, is I wanted to form a community and a place where I can talk about storytelling and world building and help people with it, especially that we are living in times where I believe we are, I think I will make even a video about that. We are in a very strange times where big Hollywood studios, big multi-million-dollar productions have such bad writing, such horrible writing, where you can take apart every single scene and spend like an hour. What is wrong with that scene? And I don't know what is wrong. Like, if it's like there's certainly nepotism, because you can very often see those horrible shows. You will look at the people who write the script, and they will have no portfolio at all very often. There are a couple of examples recently. What was that? The Last Jedi, I believe. The sequels, the Star Wars sequels, they were written by people who did have portfolio, but it was also very bad for portfolio. There was this show, I don't remember. There was this. Oh yeah, The Acolyte. The Acolyte. Yeah, that's the best. That's a good example. The screenwriter for the show her portfolio is basically non-existent. Like, she did some very, very, very low production value thing once, I believe, when I checked her. Yeah, long story short, I believe we are, because the thing is, stories are timeless. Stories were always something that we as humans loved, and that's because, well, there's many reasons, but one of the reasons is that because you can learn much, you can relate a lot to characters. Sometimes it can give you a window into a different type of world. That's why I think I am in this age of, I try not to go political, but in this age of going to the extremes, of people just going extreme in any direction, in any form, in any sort of discussion, it's very difficult to understand people that you disagree with. And I think I'm pretty good at understanding, even if I don't agree with someone. I'm not talking about, it's not like I'm not talking about politics because I am apolitical. I actually have a very, very strong political views. Some people would absolutely think that they are extreme if they would hear about them, but I don't talk about them because that's not the goal of my channel. I don't want to pour division based on something that has nothing to do with the subject of my channel. But I still think, even though I heavily disagree with some major major political views or world views, I still think I can understand them, and not understand the terms of, yeah, because they are stupid, that's why they believe those things I disagree with. Because that's when I ask that question to people who are very extreme, they will say, yeah, I understand my opposition too. Yeah, they are too stupid. They're like, their IQ is too low. It's not actual understanding. It's just insulting someone and painting yourself in a better picture. When I'm talking understanding, I'm talking about, if you to prove that you understand someone, you need to present to that person what you think that they are thinking, and that person needs to agree with you. That's what understanding means. So imagine you're discussing with someone that you disagree with heavily, and if you want to know if you understand them correctly, you present to them what you think, what they think, and then if they agree with you, that means you are correct, because that is basic human understanding, and it's very difficult to do that, because what we as humans very often do, and I catch myself doing that as well. Like I'm not a god. I'm not perfect. Of course I fall down into this abyss from time to time, where we just want to absolutely hate the people that we disagree with and say that they are wrong and evil at every single level, um, where it's not really the case very often. I'm not saying it's never the case, because sometimes it is the case, but not always. Actually, more often than not, people do have very noble, righteous beliefs behind something, but they will be very twisted and corrupted, and they will do something that, for example, I disagree with and I think is very immoral, right? So that's like a small update. Expect more from the channel. I hope I will be able to make a new video this week, although I'm feeling very sickly right now because I came back. I have a side hobby of martial arts. I train MMA and kickboxing, and I wasn't kickboxing for a very long time because I had an injury, a leg injury, which prevented me from training. And then when I went back to training, well, my body didn't really liked that, because if you don't know about that, martial arts as a sport is a very unhealthy sport. Unhealthy in terms of it's strain your body a lot, and because of that your body focuses on regenerating and rejuvenating, and all of that energy is taken away from your immune system. Your immune system is basically much weaker than an average person. So a fighter who goes and do a lot of martial arts training, that person's immune system will be weaker than an average person, even though they would have a great diet. And that's what happened to me. I went to a advanced MMA class after almost a year of not going to any class. You can imagine how that ended up. I was barely able to breathe at the end of the I'm actually surprised that I actually managed to finish the lesson, to stay till the end, because in the middle of the training I was barely able to breathe, but I managed to survive until the end. I was also eye poked, so if I will be recording videos in the near couple of days, then you will see that my eye doesn't look that great, unless it will regenerate and it will look better until that time. Yeah, so in terms of world building videos and guides, I would try to intermingle them with normal writing and storytelling videos, and try to avoid, because as I mentioned a lot of times, I know that world building is I believe that world building is my biggest strength in terms of writing. That's something that I know quite a lot because I am a huge history buff, and I am interested in politics and geopolitics, and in history, and in intrigues, political intrigues, and all of that stuff. So I believe I have a very good understanding of it from a neutral perspective. But doesn't mean that I don't know anything else. I wrote short stories and I created stories, of course, mostly for myself and for my close ones. I actually have one story written. I used to have a blog when I wrote something, but that was a Polish blog, and for the love of God, I cannot remember the page that I was posted that on. I would post it because it would, those stories were not that great because I was just beginning when I was posting those on that blog, but it was a very standard, what's the effect called, the effect that when you start doing something you think that you are great at it, And then the more you start to learn, the more you think that you are shit actually. But then the more and more experience you get, actually your confidence will start going back up. And I believe now I'm at that moment, but when I was writing those stories, I was at the moment where you barely started doing something. I barely started writing stories. I wrote a bit more than most people, most people. I don't know about most people, but I wrote a bit more than, and I knew a bit more than my environment. So I thought, yeah, I'm great. but those stories were really bad. If I managed to find, I don't know, I don't even know if that page exists, and even if it exists, it's in Polish, so I don't think you will be able to read it unless you want to run it through Google Translate. Anyway, yeah, so I'll make more videos. The Fallout New Vegas video was the last world building video in a stream of world building videos. Now I'll make a couple of videos that are not related to world building, unless I will get an amazing idea, like, I have an idea for that one, right? Unless I have a genius idea about some world building video, I will not make any for the next 2 or 3 videos. I want to, intermingle them with non-world building videos, because I don't want to be a world building channel specifically. Yeah, and that's all for today, I guess. You can hear from me more. So this week or the next one will be next video, which is not related to world building, and it will be this video will be probably much shorter. I believe it will be below 10 minutes. Yeah, of course I try not to plan how long a video should be, because I write until I think it's enough, and then I just leave it like this. Yeah, so see you when I see you then.